Hello, Kiannaa here for October's Being in Sync Vibe. And this month I am talking all about what practices I do on a weekly or daily basis that you may consider incorporating into your Being in Sync rituals because it is a lot. And I will tell you that I think I never really considered this word to be positive. However, I can be quite greedy when it comes to my own self-care, meaning that it is a priority for me. And I will say this, I think anybody who has had a health crisis themselves and or has cared for somebody in a health crisis, it's a wake-up call. And, my wake-up call has been gradual, if you will. I did a lot of self-care before COVID hit, but then COVID opened up new opportunities for different ways of doing things that I personally have enjoyed. So I am going to share my list of things that I do on a regular basis, and then, feel free to take, repeat, modify, change anything that I'm doing and add it to your own. One thing I would say is don't be intimidated. I think the key here is that you have a practice of daily self-care. For me, this is what I do for a living. I help people heal and perform at higher levels in the elite atmosphere of their respective careers. And, that requires a different type of energy to do that. So what I do may not feel like it fits for everybody, but it can be done. So I will start with, before I even get out of the bed, I always, as soon as I wake up, the first thing I do is go into prayer. I bring in energies, I check my field, and I determine my intention for that day. And I do that before I even get out of bed. And I do it for myself, and I also do it for my dog to help keep us in optimal health. Now, I didn't always do it for my dog, but when she started to get sick, and she's now had her second bout with kennel cough, I've decided to start doing it with her as well. So prayer, calling in the energies that I work with on a regular basis, and I raise my vibration. I make sure there's nothing yucky that's in my field that shouldn't be in there. I do that for our home as well. And that's the first thing I do. I also have a glass of lime water always by my nightstand. You can use lemon or lime water. I use lime, and I have that whenever I wake up to go to the restroom during the night, or when I wake up in the morning, I make it a point to start drinking that as soon as possible. The other thing that I do that may be interesting for you is that I think it's important to sow seeds of kindness and generosity. And so I have established a regular practice, and I mostly do this on LinkedIn. I might do it for some of my clients who are regulars, or somebody on Instagram, but I will see a post and I will write something kind and meaningful in support of whoever made the post. And I do that every day, at least on 3 different posts, whether it's on LinkedIn, which is primarily where I focus my energies, or on Instagram, or a client, I'll send them an email or a text message. I think it's just important to sow seeds of meaningful content and that's uplifting to those who are putting themselves out there. So the other thing that I do on a regular daily, if not weekly basis, is I exercise, specifically sweat. And I started doing that when COVID hit because I needed a way to get the toxins out of my body. And one of the way to get rid of toxins is to sweat. So I sweat in my exercise regularly, and I usually do, I love my Peloton, I love my bike, and then I do workouts. Right now I'm doing a really tough workout with Tracy Anderson, and it really, it's hard. But the reason why I even started working with Tracy Anderson and her program is because of how it aligns your meridian system. So if you want to check her out, you can Google her and do YouTube. I work out pretty much 4 to 5 days a week, if not more. I do cardio, and then I do strength training 3 to 4 times a week. So pretty much I don't usually take a day off per se. I just don't work out as hard on one day as I do on the others. But I pretty much am very vigorous of making sure that I am getting my sweat on. I think it's super important as far as healing. Another thing that I do that you might find interesting or helpful is before I ingest any food, whether it's water or coffee or a meal, I always set an intention or a prayer into my meal before I eat it. It's just a good practice, and I do that for our little Raw as well. And a funny story, we went to take Raw to a doggy psychic just for fun, and it was a really great experience. One of the things that I asked the psychic is if Raw liked her food, because I know a lot of dogs can have trouble with food. And one of the fun things that she said that she had never heard before is she said that the psychic said to us that she likes her food and that her food talks to her. And I just laughed. I thought that was so fun because I'm putting energy into her food, and my little puppy is ingesting it and enjoying the food because it's good for her and because I put good stuff into her food. So if you think that intentions don't work, you're mistaken. Our thoughts, our intentions, our energy, it goes into every aspect of our way of being. And I just thought that was a really great affirmation and feedback, even for me, even though I believe this stuff and I practice it, to have an outside entity share with me a practice that she didn't know that I was doing. So that's fun. Another thing I do on a regular basis, I do this every day. Maybe take a time out with my herbs. I change my herbs that I take every day, about every 45 to 60 days, depending on what I'm working on and what phase I'm in the year, because Ayurvedic care is all about phases, and also my body and how my body works with the certain foods. But as far as herbs that I'm taking right now on a regular basis, I think it's always a good practice to take Healthy Mind, which is an herb that I've been taking, and I really like it because I'm very sensitive and I'm a telepath, so I'm picking up on people's thoughts. It's really important for me to be able to distinguish what thoughts are mine and when I'm picking up on somebody else's thoughts. And I found this herb to be very helpful for me in that practice. It also just keeps you calm and clear and kind of even keel. I know many of you know that I'm a big supporter of ashwagandha, which is really good for the nervous system. And that's another one I'm on a regular basis with. In addition to that, one of the things that I do that might be surprising to some of you is our biggest organ is our skin. And so for the last 6 to 8 months, I've been practicing putting specific oils on my skin to help get nutrients into my body and also have a very vibrant protective layer against the elements, because let's be honest, there's a lot of things going on in our environment, and we need to have a fortified, strengthened skin, since we take in so much in that way. And so one of my practices is, before I take a shower every day, I put these oils on and I just go jump in the shower. It's no big deal. And then pretty much twice a year, I will do a massage that has the oils, and then I do the steam. But for the most part, I steam my shower before I go in, so the oils are penetrating the skin. So that's something I started doing this year. And initially, I would say I wasn't resistant, but just kind of skeptical, like, oh, why am I doing this kind of a thing? Like, oh, Kiannaa, another weird thing, right? But I have to say, I've come to really like it and enjoy it. And my skin is so soft, beyond what any softness I've ever experienced before. I would say it's like baby skin, really. It's really supple and soft to the touch. It's really nice. So I've been doing that on a regular basis. Another thing that I do every single day, and I noted this on Facebook a couple weeks ago, but every single day I go through my day and I see, well, what did I learn today? And I'll make notes about what I learned from the day. And I just think it's a great way to just kind of integrate what we've learned. And also throughout the day, another thing that I do is I take notes. So if I'm in session, or I'm in a conversation with somebody, or I'm going to somewhere and I get a trigger, oh, I need to address this within myself, I will make a note of it to go back and address it with myself later. So things are clean and clear. I just found that was a very helpful practice, that oftentimes we can get forgetful to do certain things for ourselves. And so I just take notes. I use the note in the iPhone as a system. And then for my learnings, I use Google Docs, and I keep track of it all year round. Just like for the energy recalibrations, the monthly healings, I keep notes for that all month long. So if somebody triggers something, I just keep a note in there to address that for the group healing as well. And then finally, I will say I end my day with a prayer as well. I recapped with Oliver. We always say what our high of the day was, and we really enjoy that aspect. And it's different every day. And then I do a prayer every night before I go to sleep. Usually within my prayer, not only am I giving gratitude, but I'm connecting with the energies. And I'm also asking for insight and wisdoms about certain things that I'm working on, or maybe working through, or maybe I want more wisdom about something in particular. And lately, I have been really focused on how to bring more joy into my day, like in my daily practices. And one of the fun things that I had when I was working on that, it was just a super fun dream. And it really was a cool dream where there was like a bunch of these orca whales and these dolphins, and they were like 10 feet off the beach, and I had a bag of fish, and I was just throwing them the fish, and this bag of fish was just like a limitless bag of fish, and I just kept on feeding these whales, and they were playing and having fun, and I was just totally in joy with the simplicity of feeding these beautiful whales that I love so much. If you guys know me, I love whales. And when I woke up in the morning, the purpose of the dream was just to remind me how simple our joy can be. It's being present for whatever it is that we're doing. And if we are present, then we can bring joy into that moment. And that's what that dream really taught me. And so I'm just really mindful of those little messages and lessons that come to me throughout the day. So I know a lot of you might have some specific questions. Feel free to ask me, but I thought that some of you have been inquiring separately. So I just put together this little video, and I hope you find it helpful as you are preparing for November, December, the month ahead. All right, cheers to being in sync.